I'd like to welcome zooming in on the radio, General Don Bolduc. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well, Steve. I hope you're well. I hope your family's well, and my best to all your listeners.
Good to see you. I know that you are incredibly busy. Apparently, there's an election tomorrow. Not sure if you've heard about it.
Yeah, it popped up on my radar screen, right? And there it is, right? Big election. Really want to encourage all Granite Staters to get out and vote. If you're looking for change, if you're tired of the inflation and you're tired of the out of control spending and the insecurity in our nation, both at home and abroad, and the problems that we have, the future of our children and grandchildren, and you want change. I think over the last 2 years on the campaign trail, visiting every town and city, some multiple times, um, the message I receive, people want change. We have to return the power of governance to the people. It's hugely, hugely important. That's the way our government was designed. And for too long, it's been out of their hands. And the people that have put us in the problems that we're in today need to go. It's time for change. And I need people to get out in force and vote for Don Bolduc for U.S. Senate. If you want accountability, if you want responsibility, if you want transparency and truth, vote for Don Bolduc. I will give it to you. I will work with you. We together will make the changes necessary to ensure our children and grandchildren have a future.
You know, you've been coming on the radio with me for the last couple of years, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. What I've noticed is you've definitely taken that outsider approach because you are an outsider. You're not a part of that establishment on any side. And that message seems to be really resonating well with Granite Staters.
Oh, yes, it absolutely has, right? As it should. They're in charge, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones that are supposed to be in charge. They're the ones for too long have been ignored and told what to do and who to vote for. And you're going to have to live with our mistakes. Mistakes, by the way, that we won't take accountability for, we won't be responsible for, but we'll expect you to vote for us again. The very people at the local, state, and federal level that have created this mess for us and our children and our grandchildren are now turning around and asking you to vote for them again. And not only that, some of them are asking you to vote for them in positions of higher elected responsibility. I just don't understand that logic. And guess what? Neither do Granite Staters.
Yeah.
And they are tired of it. And the nonsense that comes along with all this, the lying and the pointing of fingers and, the misrepresentation of facts and calling people names. It's not working. The top down money, that's coming into the state to, get people to change their minds. Listen, when you put in the groundwork, when you put in the bottom up work, people know what you stand for. They've seen you. They've heard you. You've got coffee breath close with them. You've held the hands of moms and dads that are wondering how they're going to put food on the table, how they're going to balance medical bills and pay their taxes and buy school supplies and get their car registered and inspected, and how they're going to heat their homes this winter. There's so much uncertainty out there. And the people that, want to get reelected are the ones that put us there, and they haven't apologized for it. They haven't taken accountability for it. And that is clear, and it's time for change.
So we're talking to General Don Bolduc, who's zooming in. Usually I get a whole almost hour with you, but with the primary tomorrow, you're super busy. So what I was kind of hoping that you could do is if somebody's listening and hearing you for the first time, because usually you're on later in the day, how walk us through you. Like, who are you? Where'd you come from? I know you're a retired brigadier general. What's your history and that Granite State roots that you have?
Yeah, so my history, my values, principles were formed here in the Granite State, born and raised in Laconia, New Hampshire. I grew up working on family farm, working hard, learning a work ethic, learning that learning about, the importance of God in your life and the family, and the importance of community and contributing to your community, being grateful and humble for everything that you have, and also a pride in our country that was instilled in me by my family. And, the Baltics, when I was growing up, it was clear you had to join the military one way or another, right? And that was my grandfather's. He said, "Hey, listen, I came from Canada in 1899, and we worked hard, and we saved our money, and we bought a farm, and we turned it into a family enterprise, dairy, maple syrup, produce. I mean, you name it, and it endured. And during the Great Depression, it fed many people in the Guilford, Laconia, Lakes region community that would come to the farm to do a hard day's work, a hard week's work, and they would leave with food. And I hear those stories all the time. And that's what's missing right now, right? And so that's what I learned. And that's what I took with me everywhere I went. And I joined the military at 19 years old, and, dug foxholes as a private, and then supervised others digging foxholes as a sergeant and a lieutenant, and worked my way up the ranks, and served as a general officer, and came back to this great state to help veterans and their families and teach school to help our younger generation, and work in our community. I've got back into law enforcement, and now I'm running for office because I'm worried. I'm worried about what's going on in this nation, in this state, and what we see, the future of our grandchildren and our children, at risk, and moms and dads, how they're going to feed. And that's my legacy. My legacy, and what I've learned all over this world, working in, 3/4 of the countries of this world, is that, if we don't take care of each other and we don't do the right thing by each other, we're not gonna survive. We're not gonna last. And so we got to change. We got to change the direction of this nation, and you do it by changing people that are willing to work for you and know what public service is. And so, if you want to know anything about the Baltics, you go to the Lakes region, and that name is synonymous with hard work and service, and people that their handshake is their contract, and their word is their bond. And that is something that has disappeared from our society, from our culture, and we got to bring it back. Sooner the better.
Talking to General Don Bolduc, it is 7:25. With yesterday, the 21st anniversary of September 11th, I would love to have you just reflect on what September 11th meant to you. And I know that it really changed your life, and it sent you overseas fighting for many years. But I was kind of hoping to get your take before we wrap up.
Sure. September 11th, the 21st anniversary, as with the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, we can't forget it, right? And the children that were born on September 11th, 2001 are now 21 years old. And we can't let them forget, what happened on that day and how it fundamentally changed geopolitics, right? And so the sacrifices that were made and the sacrifices that will continue to be made. But more importantly, what we really have to ensure we don't forget is 9/12, that very next day, where our country came together, where there was no Republican or Democrat or independent or libertarian or free state or whatever. It was Americans. And that's fundamentally what's going on right now. We have to set aside all this other stuff, and we have to come together for the things that are going to make this country successful and the people in this country successful. And that is the economy, fiscal responsibility, and safety and security. We see it all the time. And so the big lesson to me is sacrifice, service, coming together for a common goal, and that is an American goal, our values and principles of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and protecting that so we never lose it.
And where were you September 11th? Like, walk me through your day.
Yeah, so September 11th, I'm at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. We're getting ready to deploy to the country of Jordan. Huge, huge exercise in the Middle East. Five different countries over what? Five different countries over an 8 country exercise. Huge, huge, huge. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in my office and bam. And I'm like, wow, how could anyone make that mistake? And then I see the second one. So I get up and I go to my boss's office, Lieutenant Colonel Fox. He's my battalion commander, and I'm his operations officer. And I said, hey, boss, you got to turn on your television. I think we're being attacked. And he turns it on, and we see it, and we're sitting there. We look at each other, and we knew exactly what was going to happen. And we deployed the very next day to Jordan. Our battalion did. We're sitting there. The exercise got shortened. We went right into Uzbekistan, and from there we were the first service members into southern Afghanistan to do the southern campaign with Hamid Karzai, which was very, very successful. And from there, it led to 9 more deployments, a total of 10, commanding thousands of men and women, not only in Afghanistan, but in Africa. Losing, not bringing home 72, understanding sacrifice. That was my day. My day was like watching our national, the physical, visible representations of our national power get attacked, the economic in New York, the military in the Pentagon, and then obviously the brave people, on the aircraft that they took down in Pennsylvania to prevent, I think, an attack on our political center of gravity somewhere in Washington, D.C., whether it was the Capitol, the White House, whatever, that one was targeting, was a day that we should never, ever forget, when Americans don't work together and we become more divisive than we are together and collective. What can happen to us, and we don't ever want that to happen again.
Yeah, those days after September 11th, you're so correct on the unity that this country had. Um,
And we've pulled it apart like warm bread since then.
yeah,
And it's wrong.
Yep.
It's absolutely wrong. And we got to bring it back together now. And we can do it together, the people, returning governance to them, and making our political leadership, our political elected officials and appointees responsible for their actions.
Well, General, it is 7:30. I know that you got another media hit coming up in just a couple of minutes. So I wanted to thank you for coming on. I wish you the best of luck tomorrow. I always love having you on. You've been a good friend of the radio station here at WCNL. And any final words before I wrap you up and let you go off to your next one?
Please, Newport and the surrounding area, please get out and vote for Don Bolduc. I won't let you down. I will work with you. I come from you. I am experiencing the same hardships as you. We want the same thing. God, family, community, country, all those pillars to be strong in this nation. They're weak now. Let's work together to make them strong. Send a message to Washington, D.C. that what they're doing is wrong.
All right, General, the election is tomorrow. I wish you the best of luck, and don't wrap up yet. I mean, I want to talk to you off the air, but
You got it.
thanks again for coming on.
God bless you, my friend. Thank you.
You bet.